Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit. I was happy here back again with Hunter Hunter. We are on episode 59, and in the last episode we had a really sort of solemn but cool episode that was the end of the Phantom Troop arc, which, if you recall last episode in the discussion, I talked about how I felt it was a bit bittersweet, how I felt like, I thought it was nice the sort of way that it ended because, we had Fate, Ann and Finks talking to God and Killua and sort of settling, not fully the differences, but you know what I mean, like kind of, it was a nice little talk between them. But I also felt very cock-blocked. I think very similar to the way Hisoka was, finding out that he couldn't have that fight with Crollo in the end anyway. So yeah, but one of my patrons, Shion, actually sort of give me some information, and now I don't feel as cock-blocked as I previously thought, because in my eyes I was like, oh shit, well what now then, we're fucked because Crollo can't do anything for like the rest of his life. But yeah, Shion actually sent me a message and told me that when Finks and Fate Ann were actually talking, Finks was giving up a bit too much and Fate Ann shot like daggers at Finks. And I was wondering what that was, and it's basically something along the lines of Finks giving up too much information regarding something like getting rid of Kurapika's Nen that is holding Crollo hostage from using his Nen. So, the distinct possibility of Crollo and the Phantom Troop doing their own thing while, the main group like Gon and Killua and stuff are doing some other stuff. Like, it allows us to have a break, but also to sort of add on this exposition that we've been getting from the Phantom Troop, for them to eventually come back. And if they have their own adventure and finally get rid of the Nen surrounding Crollo, then it'll make for a hell of a return when they do come back. So yeah, I'm excited for it, and I no longer feel cock-blocked. So yeah, I'm fine with the end of that story. But we've got a new story coming up now, a new arc, which is obviously the Greed Island arc. So we'll see where that goes. Somebody said, oh god, was it on here? Yeah, sorry if I forget your name. Yeah, Artificial Flavors on Patreon as well told me that there's going to be a new opening for this one, for this episode, so on this arc. And I've been told to look away because it features spoilers. So I'll be looking away from the opening until anybody decides, like, I'm fine to look at it, then I will. But, obviously I don't want to spoil myself if it has actual spoilers in it, and obviously I don't want to say it. So, yeah. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. I think the main thing last episode was that the Phantom Troop is sort of done for now, and then we're moving into something new. So yeah, that is all I've got. We're going to get in episode 59, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 59, right, so straight into it then. So yeah, the original plan that Gon had that he was talking about like a few episodes back was essentially the plan was not to buy it out, straight, but instead wait for the one person to get it and then offer their sort of services to go in and try and beat it. So yeah, it's like it's very much so like a it's almost like a team-based thing, really, like, getting a group of people together to sort of beat it in a way. You could like relate it to like an RPG or something in a way, which obviously doesn't surprise me. So yeah, the Mr. Butterer guy ended up getting it. It's interesting that he said that the rival to grab Greed, when he was talking about it, one of the things that you love when you try to monopolize it. I was wondering what he meant by that, and obviously it means like, I'd assume that it means like just getting every sort of copy of it, because if you have them all together, then I'd assume that you would be able to get more than just 8 people in, right? Or is it more like no, I suppose it's more like a single... I think it's a single world with the option to have 8 people join in, right? I think that's it. And it's not like a case of like if you got multiple because then it would be more like multiplayer, like an MMO if you're able to get all the consoles together and have them like you know, if you had 2 consoles, you get 16 players in one world. But no, I think it's just 8 players per one world, I think. But still, if you have all of the consoles, then it increases the likelihood that, you know, that people will eventually beat it, right? Because then, you know, hiring people to go in and try and beat it, you have more people to, you know, the odds increase, right? So I guess that's what he meant by monopolize it. So yeah, we also had the console itself was something. The guy, what was it? The woman said that he, like, the person who owns it is also within the world itself, like right now, and if they don't beat it by a certain time, then they're able to give it to the auction for someone else to come in and beat it. But I mean, that's the thing, is like, what I find interesting is that there seems to be different stories going on, because they said that only 8 players can be on one console, right? But they're also talking about 50 people that decided to live in the game. So is he talking about across different consoles? I imagine it is, because again, the whole monopolizing it, I imagine they have multiple consoles, enough to have at least 100 people, because he was talking about how they got 100 different people and 50 of them just decided to live in the game, you know? So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, Jait Sarah, however you pronounce that guy's name, that's the guy that had the console that was in the auction. There were also 7 people that was in that console, and 2 of them have already died. So yeah, there's 3 slots open for that, right? So I imagine that they have, yeah, they're like having auditions essentially, right, for people to go in. They're obviously going to be just picking the strongest, most likely, you know, people to actually get stuff done in there. And that's why they obviously just can't pick those 2 straight up and off the bat. It's almost like a business thing they've got going on surrounding this whole game, which is interesting. So yeah, it's interesting. The fact that Gon and Killua want to go into their thing, knowing that they already have the data. So how would they access it if that memory card is already full with one person's data? Then is it like loading in the game? I imagine that's what it is, right? It's not a case of like them going in and like it's them themselves. I'm trying to think of how it would work, because it seems like it's not a game in which you, I mean, I was talking about it being an RPG before. I'm not sure if it's a game that you go in and you get abilities and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's like you know, it's not like Sword Art Online, for example, right? It's not like you go in and you get access to like all of these abilities and different items and stuff like that, and you can use them wherever and whenever. So it's not like Gon could load in to that with that memory card and be, I don't know, like like level 80, right? whatever the character is, and be extremely powerful within it. I think it's only you can only do as well as you yourself in real life can do, because it's connected almost to your, it's basically you in another world in it. So yeah, it's interesting that like it's sort of, it's referred to as a game, but I don't know exactly to what degree of a game it actually is, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love the fact that Phaeton and Finks have gone in. So yeah, it makes me, I don't know, I think, I don't understand. Am I missing something in regards to what, like, who can be in there at any one time? Does it mean that only 8 people? When he was talking about the people that just give up and decide to live in the game, does that mean that, like, if somebody on the outside takes out the memory card while someone's in the game, does that mean that they're stuck in the game? Is that what it means? So that you can theoretically get 8 more people in? And maybe that's what he's talking about when he's like 50 people decide to live in the game. Like, if 50 people are in there. I don't know if it's 50 people. I remember him saying like there was like 100 odd people or something. Like 100 people and half of them decide to live there. So... fuck. I apologise, guys, if it's like annoying you that I'm not getting the answer. I'm just... I think there's some sort of... There might be like one like key phrase in the subtitles that I just missed, which is obviously putting me off. I might have to go through and check. It might take a while. Yeah, each memory card only has the capacity to store one player's data. Right. See, it's just interesting because if somebody gets a hold of like a different memory card and then like slots it in, I don't know if it's a case of like you load into that guy's data, you know what I mean? Because it's interesting, like the subtitle clearly says here, store one player's data. So it's almost like the memory card itself is focusing on the player itself and not like maybe like the place where he logged out in a way, you know? I don't think anybody would be able to get in there with another memory card, right? Oh dear. Yeah, I'm trying to find the 51 because the 50 players that have just decided to just stay in there, innit? Right, yeah, so as long as a player is alive inside the game, you can't reset or remove the memory. Right, so you can't remove the memory card then. Is that an impossibility or what? You can't send in new players as long as... Right, so I've hired around 100 pro and amateur hunters to play this game, and over half of them have given up. Yeah, that does... How does that make sense? I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense. Over half of them have given up, right? So, I've hired around 100. Half of them have given up, decide to live in the game. But based upon the fact that you can't remove a memory card, then I'd have to assume that those 50 odd people, or how many ever it is, the memory cards are still in there. Right? Yeah, it must be. So they're talking about different consoles then, that's what it is. That must be what it is. Yeah, that's why alright, okay, I'm an idiot. That's why I must be careful when selecting players, because it's up to the people that go inside the game that decide if they want to come out. The people on the outside have no control over that. So it means that people are just almost people are taking up space where there is limited amount of space, right? Because I don't think there's like that many versions of this game, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just an idiot. I'm just an idiot then. Yeah, don't mind me. Sorry about that, guys. I'm an idiot sometimes. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. So I guess those people that die, the memory card is just automatically, it's taken out, or it's allowed to be removed, and it's no longer like a part of the console and no longer imbued with NEN, so you can just take it out, I imagine. Alright, so that's interesting. Well, the console in which Finks and Phaeton got a hold of, because they went in there and there's two of those, like obviously two of those people, there's one, there is one space left. So I'm trying to think if it's going to be a case of Gon ends up going into that one. The thing is, I would like if fucking both Gon and Killer went in, which I feel like that's what's going to happen, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to be just a case of... you see, was it the console that these guys just won, that Phaeton and Finks went and stole? I feel like it was. I could be wrong though. It didn't take them much though, just to take it off them. God, it's just so easy for them. I don't know, because it would be interesting to see, like, I mean, I said during the reaction that it's interesting, like, that we're still sticking with the Phantom Troop, even though it's not their arc anymore, which is nice because I'm kind of, they're an interesting group. They're not like how do I describe it? Like that? I enjoy watching them. You know what I mean? And they have this sort of bond together that I kind of enjoy, and that's even more so, especially what happened after the last episode. So, you know, it's one of those things that I'm just happy that we're still getting, you know, their story as it unfolds, even though they're not like a main part of it anymore. So yeah, that's cool. Right. Anyway. Yeah, so Kurapika awoken and then went back to sleep, like, you know, immediately after. I just thought it was interesting, like, kind of over the past few episodes with Kurapika not wanting Gon Killua to be involved and stuff, though, like the sort of pressure that Kurapika has put on himself to get certain things done, like, you know, his resolve to take out the Phantom Troop and to make sure that Gon and Killua are all right, like, was enough to jolt him awake. And then once he figured out exactly, like, that nobody was in an immediate danger, he fell back asleep. It's almost like, you know, he was like, all right, that's fine. It's like he just wanted to make sure that people were all right, so that he was free to go back to sleep. Which, you know, basically tells you exactly what kind of person he is, which is you know, looking out for people and stuff, which is nice. I'm also wondering, like, the fever thing. Is it just due to the fact that over the course of, like, however many days or whatever it's been since this whole thing started, like, he just hasn't rested up, or he's used these, like, the whole Scarlet Eyes thing's maybe done too much, and, you know, I don't know, because I feel like maybe it's something similar to, like, when you get drunk, when you're on, you know, when you've been drinking alcohol and stuff, your immune system tends to go, like, you know, it tends to slow down, and you're more prone to, like, getting, for instance, a cold when you're drunk. So I wonder if it's similar to that with the Scarlet Eyes, like, if he, you know, because obviously it's a thing of, like, he can only use it for, like, he can't use it forever, the Scarlet Eyes thing, right? And once he does, when he comes out of it, he's like out of breath and stuff. So I wonder if it's a case of, like, him using it sort of diminishes his health, he's no longer, like, a healthy state when he's using it, kind of thing. You know, I was just wondering why he just immediately had a fever, like, at the end of last episode, you know. But yeah, so we also had the Melody talking about how what happened with Squall, and then Eliza like breaking down and stuff, and because of that, Neon actually decided to forego the auction and stuff. So it's nice to actually get some kind of, you know, like, humanity out of Neon, because she seems so, like, uninterested in anybody else and all for herself. Like, she was very you know, she was very spoiled in a way, you know what I mean, like very much like if I cry then I get what I want kind of thing, you know. And then, like, going out of Safety's way, like, you know, disguising herself so that she could get away from the bodyguards to go do what she wanted to do and stuff. So it's nice that we're actually seeing, like, some sort of, you know, like, empathy with Neon, because I don't think, you know, we haven't really seen that. So yeah, that's nice. Because she didn't have that with whatever his name was that died, right? The guy who got them all introduced to the Nostrada family. Dalzaline, that guy. So yeah, I mean, it's nice, you know. I mean, Eliza did say that, you know, Neon sort of likes her, right? Should, like, really likes Eliza, so I guess it makes sense with that. Okay, so yeah, they weren't permitted to go in because they're not strong enough, Gon Killua, so they have to work on their, like, special abilities and stuff like that, where it was told that Gon doesn't really need any special abilities. it's just an enhancer, so it's kind of just, you know, it is what it is, like, punch hard and you know, just enhance everything that you do. It is interesting when Wing talks about you know, the enhancers are the perfect balance of, you know, the most balanced out of all of the other classes, because enhancing something whilst because it works in both manners, right? It works in enhancing sort of, like, your own body in a way to like make it harder. So it's, you know, it's harder to break, harder to penetrate, and therefore it's a good defense, but also to, you know, enhance your, I don't know, your speed in your arm to generate more power, and making it so that you know you hit harder than everyone else as well. So I guess it does make sense. I suppose because of the fact that we've got the likes of Gon, Killua, and Kurapika, you don't really need across the board all three of them to have very special techniques. I suppose in a way it's alright for Gon to just be kind of vanilla in that regard. You know, I won't lie, when I did first hear it, and it's like, oh, you don't need any special abilities, I was like, oh. It's like, I don't want... The thing is, I don't really think it matters that much though, because I still get hyped up every time Gon like loses his shit and just breaks out of stuff, or breaks a wall, or like, you know, or does something that like is like sort of, it seems like it's out of the blue, but he's always capable of doing it. So yeah, he was told by Wing to basically do everything simultaneously, and I had the same reaction as what Gon did. I didn't understand it, because I don't know how he can, like, just the idea of using Zets to conceal your aura, but Ren to also enhance it at the same time is kind of like it's kind of like a hypocritical, like it shouldn't work that way, you know, because Zets is it. But I mean, I guess what Zetsu really means is you're concealing the aura that you're giving out. You're not removing the aura. You're not like getting rid of it. So it's not entirely the opposite. Ren and Zetsu aren't entirely the opposite, are they? It's just concealing the Ren that you do have. So I think what he really needs to learn to do is he needs to do it in the opposite way to what it normally would be, right? I think you would have to emit his aura first, like Ren would do, and then conceal it after the fact. Alright? Because it's not like a chain thing. It's not like you need to do 10 first, and then Zets, and then Ren comes. It's not like a chain thing, right? You don't need to do all of those in order to get Ren, right? To do Ren. So I think it has to be the opposite way around. I think that would be the easier way to do it. You know, but yeah, I mean, we saw him kind of figure it out, like by using Gyo to be able to see it, right? And then by, you know, using it with his hand, it allows him to look at it and try and do both at the same time. And you know, by learning that, it's great, because I refer to it in the reaction as it's almost like Bleach with Ichigo, towards the Aizen fight, when he's in the fucking, God, it's been ages since I watched it, but he's in the sort of the in between, right, where time moves faster than what it does in real life. So he goes in there, and he basically removes all of his spiritual energy, so that you don't feel anything from him, and it's just like Aizen refers to it as like a sort of a weak, you're like, you know, you're that weak that you're not giving off any spiritual energy, right? Whereas, like, you know, in Aizen's presence, like, it's literally forcing you to the floor. It's like a massive gravity, you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, Ichigo, it's almost non-existent, because he traded it in for like physical, like, prowess. Like, he's faster, he's stronger, you know. So I almost feel like it's something like that, which is interesting. It also means that, like, he's going to be so much more good in combat, because a lot of the time, well, I say a lot of the time, we haven't really seen many fights, but, you know, for example, the Kurapika and Uvo fight, right? By being in a sort of a cloud of smoke, not knowing where the next hit's coming from, that would work very well with Gun. By being able to use Ren in tandem with concealing his presence means that he can hit as hard as he can, and still they don't know where he's coming from, which is cool. And we already know that he's you know, he's quite fast, but, you know, if he's able to even up that even more, then, you know, he's just going to become a powerhouse, and you know, that's going to be cool in its own way. But on the other hand, with Killua, he is using the electricity thing. Now, if I do recall, I believe he used that against the wheelchair guy, right? In the arena. I think that was his first time sort of using it, right? There was something like that. I'm just trying to recall how it is. I think it was like he got... I think the reason why it works so well with Killua because it was almost like shock therapy in a way. Like when he you know, I think when the guy with the wheelchair used it on him, he was you know, he was able to just take it because he is taken, you know, he's taken worse from like torture and stuff like that, right? So I wonder if when he got given that by the wheelchair guy, he was like, he used that to his advantage. Like he's already familiar with it, and it's also not going to hurt him. So by using it himself, it's, you know, it works in tandem with that. And also, I just like the idea of Killua having electricity. It's like, it's just cool, you know. I like it. I like that a lot. I like electric sort of powers anyway. You know, like Thor and stuff. So you know, I'm entirely cool with that. So yeah. Yeah, we also got a bit of exposition on Kurapika, like talking to Gon about how stuff works and how it's and it makes entire like total sense. Like you are supposed to think almost like nothing about the power in which you want, and then visualize it so that it becomes an image in your head, and then it is transferred into reality via your nen. So I think the idea is that like it's all down to control of your aura in a way, right? Like your aura is so, like you're able to manipulate your aura to such a degree that it can almost become anything. So I think it's all just down to how much control you have over your aura, meaning that you can just, you know, you can do whatever it is that you want with it. In Kurapika's case, you know, he's able to, you know, create chains out of conjuring it. Because he's able to visualize it, like, you know, in and out. So, yeah, that's it makes sense. It was a cool way of sort of explaining it, but I figured it would be something like that. So yeah, yeah. The last thing I've got was you know, back with Gon when he was, you know, the whole Gyo thing and trying to do two things at once. Also focusing power in one body part. It's interesting because I feel like it's almost a case of opposites of what happened in My Hero, where you have Midoriya who got a hold of a power and was only really focusing it, like when he first got it, he was only focusing on the part that he was using and putting like one for all into that one body part, that one limb. Whereas, and then, you know, after however many, you know, after a season and a bit, season and a half, he would, you know, learn to basically put it on all the time, so it's everywhere. Whereas with Gon, I think it's the opposite, where it's kind of just his aura is sort of all around him anyway. Whereas if he's able to focus it all into one, you know, one area, then it basically condenses all of the aura that would be around him into one, you know, fixed concentrated point, meaning that his punches will be even harder, which is great. So I can't wait for anything involving that. But yeah, that is all I've got. So it's, yeah, interesting. I can't wait to see where this goes. I almost have a feeling like the Greed Island arc it's going to be a case of like, we're going to go in there and then we're going to stay in there for the whole arc. And you know, if we're coming to contact with other people who are living in there, they will feel threatened because they have decided to living there. They will think that people might be going in to try and get them out. You know what I mean? And therefore they'll be very violent. And if there is any fights coming up, I can't fucking wait for them. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord. If you want any information regarding my content at all, you can get yourself over there. I also have a Patreon as well. So if you don't support me on Patreon, that would be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier, obviously $5 a month gives you access to shows a week early. And you get 4 episodes of Hunt x Hunt every week. That's 2 on Monday and 2 on Friday, as opposed to the general public that only ever get 2 episodes per week. So by the time this goes out on YouTube, you could have access to past episode 100. So enjoy those. Well, fuck. Whoa. That was weird. I don't even know what happened there. What else? Oh yeah, there's other tiers on there as well. A full length exclusive tier, even though that might be changed up in a bit, so just look out for that. There's also tiers on there where you can pay to have your show watched as well. So yeah, that was all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.